Hey guys, it's Ethan Hill, handsome and wealthy, guys. And female nature is something that we need to continue learning about, working on, and being efficient with handling a woman's emotions, man. That's the title of this video. So, why am I making this video? I think a lot of men particularly struggle in this area, as far as learning how to lead her emotions, using your logic to lead her emotions, man. So we understand that women are emotional. We understand that men are logical. But when you combine your logic and you learn how to navigate her emotions, you know what it creates? Harmony. So when you're in your logic, when she's in her feminine, it makes everything that much simpler. It makes it simpler. And once you understand this method right here, you will honestly be unstoppable in this department because we talk about providing, you talk about security, but when men come to the resolution of arguments, whether it's something minor all the way to the big scale, a lot of men don't know how to handle her emotions. You know what I'm saying? So here's a few tips, right, that I'm going to use and I'm going to tell you guys that you need to use for whenever a situation happens, okay? So number one, okay, firstly, now if she comes to you in a pissed off mood, what you need to do, number one, is acknowledge the feeling, but you must not indulge with the same mindset. So what do I mean by that? All right, cool. So let's say, um, number one, you forgot to do an errand. All right, you come home. She says, "Hey, before you get home from work, can you grab the milk?" And let's say you had like 1,000 things on your mind. Maybe you just forgot to go to the store because you were in rush hour traffic, and she comes home and she's like, Darren, I thought I told you to get the milk. I thought I told you to get the milk, but then you forgot. So what you want to do in this situation is, number one, try to acknowledge the situation, but you do not indulge in the situation. You do not argue. You don't try to get back and fester, okay? Because then it creates wildfire. So you don't put yourself in an emotional situation. You stay stoic, you calm, and you go get the milk and you try to solve the issue. Because here's the thing, once you actually try to argue and reason and you over explain, that's the problem. That's why a lot of the situations where arguments get into crazy outcomes, because like we're trying to explain, over explain, and do all this reassurance, and it never works. It doesn't work unless you have a solution, unless you have a plan. And as a man, when it comes to women, you have to be good at countering women's emotional outbursts and their emotions, because it's gonna happen. So once it happens, you gotta be able to handle that. Like, you gotta be able to handle that. You gotta be able to control that, because as a leader, right, if you can't handle a woman's emotions, it's gonna turn her off. It's gonna turn her off. It's gonna make her look at you as less than. And it's something that is just gonna put a chink in your armor. It's gonna put a chink in your armor. So that's one of the ways you can handle that. Number two, right? If she tries to be like, "Hey, you don't care about me." That's a statement that comes around a lot. You say, "I care about you enough to have this conversation, but I will not allow this situation to ruin my night. Good night." And you walk away. Because if you do the alternative of trying to over explain, trying to please, like I said, it creates a wildfire. So you have to be strategic. So like you have to have a way to say what you need to say in order for her to feel reassured. But then once you've said that, you got to let it go. You got to be like, look, this is it. Boom. This is what we're doing right now. And that's it. And we're not going to keep arguing about the same crap. And we're just going to end it, because that's how a lot of stuff escalates. Is because we try to go and we try to basically push and push and push and shove. And then, we try to over explain and put our thoughts and our feelings. So that is another scenario that you guys need to use. You got to be stoic, calm, explain yourself concisely, and then just walk away. All right, number 3. All right, number 3. If she says anything out of character, right? Anything out of line. Let's say y'all are at a dinner, right? You paid the bill, you had a good night, and then she just picks an argument after you set a spot up afterwards. She's like, oh, I don't want to do this, blah, blah. Oh, I don't want to do this. No, we should go do this. Now, as a man, right, respect is important, right? Respect is more important than love, right? Because respect is something that is guaranteed to happen if you're doing the right things. Love is very conditional. Love is fleeting. Love, you can say, is something that is up and down like the stock market. You can love someone one day, but then you can hate that person tomorrow, okay? So respect is always guaranteed if you put a high value on yourself. So what you need to do, number 1, is you're the leader, you're in charge. So if you have planned something and you're getting disrespected to the fullest, like you're getting called out your name, you are in the car, you're trying to have a good night, there's one of 2 ways you can approach this situation, right? There are one of 2 ways you can do this. All right, number 1, you either argue back, which is the way that you don't do it, especially if you guys gone out, you got drinks, or you did a little something, you know what I'm saying? Tensions are high, so you either argue back, which is the wrong response, or what you do is you stay silent. You don't even engage. You drop her off and you say, look, I had a good night with you, but this was out of line for you to try to disrespect me when we were trying to have a good night. And you drop her off at her house and you continue with your night, whatever you got. Maybe if you invite your homeboys that night afterwards. So like there's ways to do things. And it took me a long time to do and figure out these things, right? Like to understand this, because for me, I wasn't taught this situation. I wasn't taught certain scenarios on how to, handle conflict and stuff. So for me, it took me a little bit to learn, but now I'm in a stage of my life where if I'm dealing with a woman or whatever, I know how to handle conflict in a healthy way, not in a toxic way where you're going back and forth and you're trying to, prove your point. Because the point of getting into a situation to work out is just to do it in a healthy way, to do it in a stoic, strong, calm manner. And women will respect that. Yeah, they're not getting the emotional reaction out of you, but that's how you want to maintain it. You want to maintain a cool, calm edge always, and you should never let anything get you off center, because if that situation can get you off center, like I mentioned before, it can make things worse, and it can make you look like you're not in control of the situation. It makes you look like you are not in control of the woman, of the situation, and in the long run of things, it turns her off from you, okay? All right, guys, so you guys got a few scenarios, you guys got a few tips. If you guys actually felt like you got some knowledge, some game, something that maybe you didn't see it this way, you hit the like button. You can turn on your post notifications. And lastly, leave some comments, man. What do you guys think? Do you guys have ever been in a situation where you had to control things in a certain way, or did you do the opposite and you panicked and you were freaking out, or maybe you were just getting emotional and you didn't know how to react to it properly? So you guys go ahead and show some love. And guys, you know the slogan, man. Ethan Hill, handsome and wealthy. Attract the woman you want, not the woman you're settling for. And we're out.